Namaste, angels. About a week or two ago, I said that I was going to be doing a Valentine's Day reading. And just now, sort of randomly, I was moved to do it as I sit down to actually do it now. It is 141 equals 6 equals love. So that could be on purpose. Not my purpose, but the universe's purpose. I initially was going to do the whole reading with only this deck, which is my Lover's Path Tarot. And then as I sat down, I was moved to only pull out the major arcana cards from this deck. So I'm going to use those only. They are 0 through 21. So there's 22 major arcana cards here. And what I've just opened to is Sacrifice, which is the Hanged Man in the traditional tarot. That card that guides us to... It tells us that there's like a temporary energy around us that may be of Neptune as far as I'm concerned. And like that energy of like, it's very Piscean, and it causes us to think and overthink and fantasize and rationalize and go over and over again, all kinds of different options. And if we're wise, perspectives, like we take that time to not act, but instead to pause and try to look at all those things from different angles and determine what, like in what direction we'd like to go, or what choice of perhaps many we'd like to make. We may have several options. That could be what we're fantasizing about or dreaming about, or is causing us to become foggy. Sometimes like we're not seeing things as they are when there's Neptune energy or Piscean energy. So the Hangman shows up and says like, chill, fall back, look around, look within if you got to, whatever you got to look. Don't take any action though until you're like certain that you're seeing things as they are, and not just like a fragment of your imagination or something in your mind. So that's opposite innocence, which in the traditional tarot is the Fool and the first card. Let's see if I can shuffle these little tiny stacks. So they were all, I started out with them in order and all upright. Now the Hangman or Sacrifice up top, and opening to Desire or the Chariot. I'll just let you see what it looks like. Major Arcana card number 7 in reverse. So opposite the Hangman in particular, that can be about not moving. Right? The Chariot upright is about victory. It's about movement. It could be about physically moving, as into a new home, a new job, something like that. In reverse, you know, maybe we're stagnant right now, but that could be on purpose. That may be what the universe wants us to do in giving us the energy of the Hangman. It means chill. Now Desire or the Chariot up front, upright rather, and opening to Fertility or the Empress in reverse. A similar kind of energy in a way, not moving forward toward a new beginning, not taking our chances, not feeling very fertile. In fact, maybe feeling stagnant, maybe feeling limited, maybe feeling restricted. Our creative juices are not flowing. And it can be kind of literal sometimes. Maybe we're wanting or trying to become pregnant and it's not working. Especially after desire. Maybe we're desiring to become pregnant, or desiring to move forward toward a new beginning. And it's just not coming together yet. Desire or the Chariot upright, and Contemplation, which is guides us to go within. It can be about enlightenment as well. This is the Hermit in the traditional tarot, major arcana card number 9. In this tarot, or in this story in real life of Abelard and Eloise, the Hermit, who was like a monk and took a vow of celibacy, and you know, he wasn't planning on falling in love with a woman, or anyone for that matter, anyone of any gender or sexuality for that matter. He was to be alone, a monk, and live out his days like that. But he fell in love with this woman named Eloise. And so he wrote a book about it. It's a true story. He wrote a book about it. It's called, is it The Tragedy of My Calamities? Something My Calamities. And it's like the story of his life and how he had fallen in love with this woman. And what he did was move forward with his true heart's desires. ceased to be a monk and pursued what was in his heart, which was Eloise, and that they were victorious in love. Chariot is also about victory. Tristan and Isolde. Also, Tristan and Isolde, story of them, Tristan fell in love with his boss's woman, who also fell in love with him. And you can see they were victorious too. They moved forward as well. This opposite now, power, which is the emperor. And the emperor is about organization. It can represent somebody's father or a father figure, an authority, somebody's boss or something like that. And in this deck, I'm not really a fan of the emperor because I'm not really a fan of King Arthur and Guinevere. Guinevere was not in love with Arthur. He forced her. He used his power to force her to marry him. She was in love with Sir Lancelot. So that's why I don't really like this card in this deck. But I guess opposite desire, or the chariot in particular, he used his power to manifest his will and desire. Power in reverse now. So sort of handing over authority to another, not trying to control the situation. Maybe handing over the authority to the universe, which is even better than to another. I just took the liberty of cutting on that note. And I've come to the Magician in reverse as well. Magician upright, about manifesting our needs, our desires, our wants into fruition, into tangible. In reverse, maybe not, again, feeling our very mystic or magical selves, and like a sort of like writer's block, but by way of manifestation, like unable to create what it is we want to move forward in that area. Magician can also, in reverse, can also reflect somebody that's like, for me, kind of like ill and temporarily ill, unstable, all over the place. Like, I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell. That song, that, that's a Magician in reverse as well for me. The overall energy is going to be Grace, which is the star in this deck, Major Arcana card number 17, in reverse. The star is one of those cards. It's like the star is the star still. It's still manifesting our dreams, maybe not as largely as we would have were it upright, but things are still coming true. Or maybe perhaps there's some delay or something like that. I'm going to put these to the side for a moment, though, because I also had pulled out my Journey of Love cards to give us, at least as advice, an oracle card each. And in shuffling those, came to this one called Coming Together. And the 6-6 is the number on this card. And again, 6 for me, 6 equals love. And so I figured this is love coming together with love, and a good representation of the divine masculine and feminine, not only for those reasons, but the blue and red too. So I'm going to read that one to you as an opening message to this reading. You and another soul are coming into each other's worlds. It is a karmic destiny that is unfolding. So I say all the time, people use karmic as a derogatory term, and that's not really what it is and how it's meant to be used. Karmic is like of the universe, of destiny. So of the planet Jupiter, right? So karma, it's a karmic destiny that's unfolding. And so it's a good thing. It's not negative. It's an expression of a divine plan set in motion many lifetimes ago. That destiny may have a romantic purpose. It may have a sacredness that is sexual. It may have a sacredness that is creative, tender, about learning, self-esteem, or courage. It may bring a gift of enduring friendship and loyalty, or be an expression of a passing flash of divine force that shakes your foundations and helps you to move out of a situation which would have consumed your light with tediousness and playing small. The coming together is happening, however. Know it is of love. This oracle brings guidance. You are going to be moved by love, which is kind of like what we just saw with the Chariot or Desire card here, opposite the others. You are going to be moved by love, whether it's long-term or fast and furious. It is love, and it has meaning. Let it be what it is, and do not try to force it to become what you think it must be. It has worth, as do you. Enjoy the experience and know that it serves your growth. Two energy patterns came together, a shared frequency in a field of possibilities. And there was resonance. On that note, I'm going to move to the Animal Tarot. And speaking of, longevity and worth and value to a being and also a potential relationship, I'm beginning with the King of Autumn, who is compassionate, accomplished, charismatic, and grounded. Can also be an earth sign, a direct earth sign, and maybe an actual person in your life, a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or somebody of those qualities of that like nature, who is impactful upon your life on this day or on or around this day. Everything's going to turn out great. Projects will be stunningly successful. I'd say relationships too. Exciting new career opportunities and relationships are possible. And money or resources, including your own energy, right? Your physical energy, your love that comes your way, it's going to be invested wisely and used wisely. And opening to the Three of Autumn, which unfortunately can represent a party of three. So it might not just be two people coming together or two energies coming together. Maybe there's three around you. One is extra, three's a crowd. Your most satisfying and profitable career or relationship comes from following your passions, listening to your heart, and doing what brings you joy. Your life purpose is best fulfilled by allowing your talents and true self to shine forth out into the world. This is abundance, okay, the King of Autumn. So it can be abundance absolutely in the form of love. And opening to renewal or judgment, which represents the planet Pluto in the sign of Scorpio for me. It's about renewal or judgment. In traditional tarot, you have this card with, it's like purgatory. There's Archangel Gabriel with his horn, and he's over, some souls that are clearly deceased and, discarnate. And it's like they're being resurrected, at least some are. And that's what this is. That's what judgment is about to me. Death and rebirth, like Pluto, like Scorpio. It's time to get clarity about your life purpose and to make changes so that you're on the path most divinely suited to you. Forgive what has been without judgment and fearlessly embrace what's to come. Also, we just had the Three of Earth, and the Three of Earth and judgment are very much alike for me, especially as it relates to being rewarded for our hard work. So again, it's abundant, and regardless of whatever kind of abundance it is, whether it's physical work or it's and physical reward, like on this plane from a boss or something like that, or it is reward from the universe in the form of, some sort of increase in your life. It may be in your being, in your vibration even. It means the boss has a watchful eye on you, and you have been working very diligently, very hard. He is proud of you. You've been successful, and you've earned what you're being given. You've earned a reward. It is not, nobody's doing you a favor. It is not coming to you lightly or easily. You put the effort into it. Don't slack off now. Like await the reward. Continue on your path. That's what both cards say to me. And this one says it even more so as major arcana. And, it's one of the last ones. So it's very strong energy, the energy of renewal. And it's quote unquote karmic. It's very much of the universe. And again, being rewarded by the universe for what we've put into it. As it relates to relationships, friendships, or otherwise. And this is, again, the Valentines Day reading. So we're hoping for romantic connections. This card is it signifies that we've come to like a crossroads, and it's a make or break moment. We've got to decide, like, where, if anywhere, do we go from here. So this can be representing maybe a couple that's been in separation or that hasn't had any movement in their relationship. There's been some fear on one side or the other, or both, as to with regard to taking a leap forward, leap of faith, or taking advantage of that energy of the Empress, and that's fertile, and creating something really, really special and awesome together, co-creating a union, and designing what kind of friends and or lovers they're going to be, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe they just haven't done that, and so this is an opportunity. It's the sort of the universe putting them in this, giving them this opportunity, and saying it's time to decide. Where do we go from here? Like the Boys to Men song, right? Although we've come to the end of the road, I still can't let go. So we're going to decide what's going to happen from there. We're going to get back together. Maybe, what does he say? Maybe you'll forgive me. Maybe I'll forgive you, and we'll get back together. Or maybe we won't. This is when we decide. So it's time to fearlessly embrace what's to come, right? And to forgive what has been, to let go of the past without judgment. Without saying, well, you did this and or you made me feel that way, or whatever. Like, either you're letting it go or you're not. And we have that again, opposite the King of Autumn. So as it relates to relationships, romantic and otherwise, the suit of Autumn, or Earth, Pentacles, for me, and when it's a court card particular, represents longevity and value and worth in a relationship. So it can go the distance, it can go a long way. And, be a relationship that thrives, a worthwhile investment. Judgment. I'm going to cut. Of course, that could have, been a message for anyone, and particularly of those traits and qualities. But certainly maybe an earth sign, and specifically a Scorpio, an earth sign, and a water sign. And coming to the 6 of winter, the challenging times are coming to an end, and you can now breathe a sigh of relief, let go of the past, and embrace the happier times ahead. So this is basically the same message we just saw on the judgment card, or renewal card. Letting go of the past without judgment, just releasing it and welcoming what's to come, knowing that it's going to be so much better. And speaking of Piscean energy and water signs, the overall energy is the Princess of Summer. Sensitive, kind, open-hearted, and inexperienced is the Princess of Summer. Also a Pisces for me as the princess, or the page, which is the younger and or more youthful of the water element. Can also be a Scorpio, or a Cancer, of course, or anybody with those likened to those qualities. You can expect to kindle a new romantic relationship or a close platonic friendship. You may suddenly receive an emotional message from someone, or be invited to a social event. So we could maybe be asked on a date, or somebody will give you a call or send you a text, a message of love, or maybe even make an offer of love. I'm going to put these down for a second and go to the dice. Beginning with party. Stay in bed. And party can be, single or couple. There's a lot going on in most, like, at least, cities, urban locations, on Valentine's Day for singles to get into too, and maybe meet somebody. Also email. So this can be how the emotional message is delivered to and or from the Princess of Summer, or Page of Cups. And Spirit says no. So like a yes or no question that you were pondering, unsure about, answers no. And cocktail, as well as dirty movie. Drinks and porn, if you're into that, maybe. I don't know. And yeah, I'm going to leave that there. So going back to these, again, the overall energy is the Princess of Summer. Wow. Boom. The Valentine's Day reading is beginning with the Two of Cups, the Two of Summer, with an overall energy of the Princess of Summer. So it sounds like a good one. You're falling in love or experiencing the deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved as well. Don't give up. So again, I just talked about relationships perhaps getting back together, reconciling, or coming back together where there had been distance, where there had been maybe even separation, reuniting. Surrounded by the masculine, surrounded by the Princess of Autumn. Cheerful, reliable, intelligent, and mischievous is the Princess of Autumn. Also a Virgo for me, the younger or more youthful of the earth element. But can also be a Capricorn or a Taurus as well, of course. A wonderful opportunity related to your work or education, such as a promotion or a scholarship, is coming your way. Seize this chance to learn something exciting or to start a more rewarding and uplifting career. So this can involve an actual earth sign that is impactful upon your life. They may be who's delivering the message. It can be delivering a message of abundance in general. So that can be coupled with the love, especially sitting here underneath the Two of Summer or Two of Cups. But it can be also maybe money you need in order to make some things happen in the area of love. And maybe on Valentine's Day, maybe in order to go out on a date or to ask somebody out, you need some money. That can be coming your way just in time. It can also represent, again, the longevity, the potential for longevity and the worth and the value of this relationship with that the Two of Cups share. In the masculine subconscious, it's the Five of Spring. So you may be like going through some sort of internal struggle, maybe like Abelard. I'm a monk. Why am I in love with this woman? I can't, but you can't like sort of fight the feeling and stuff like that. This can actually be what this is about. Also, this represents like the aggressiveness and intensity of Mars for me, both positive and negative, not just negative. It can be about conflict, but here in this subconscious position, what is the subconscious position for me? It would be conflict, in one's own mind. So maybe self-inflicted or conflict within yourself, inner turmoil or worry about conflict. Maybe, again, there had been a falling out between the Two of Cups, whoever those two people are, and thinking like, can I fix it? Well, yeah, this says relationships in turmoil, with even marriages that are in distress, including sacred marriages, I dare say, can still be saved. Don't give up. Feminine. The King of Autumn is back. He is compassionate, accomplished, charismatic, and grounded. Everything's going to turn out great. Projects or relationships, all that kind of stuff will be stunningly successful. Exciting new career or relationship opportunities are possible, and money or resources, and even that includes love, energy, that comes your way will be invested wisely. Feminine is surrounded by the World. Congratulations on successfully accomplishing what you've set out to do. You've made it through the challenges and incorporated the lessons life has offered you with grace and courage. The World represents a party of three for me, perhaps a love triangle, but not necessarily, and is about karmic energy, as in the universe, stepping in to ease you out of a situation, a circumstance, a job, a relationship that is toxic or just has run its course, and that's the end of it. Whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, even with a family member, it's time to for each person to spread their wings and go their separate ways and all that kind of stuff. This is the universe stepping in to help you to do that, to remove yourself from this third energy, whatever it represents in your life. And in the feminine subconscious, there's a energy of distrust. distrust, feeling robbed, or being concerned about somebody who might try to take something from you. It could be distrust in the relationship, and that may be why there's conflict here. And that may be what, where there is a relationship in distress that this represents, that may be from what it is. I can't trust you. This is also inability to trust oneself, a lack of confidence in oneself, a lack of self-esteem. That could be what the universe is helping you to move out of, and instead to see your worth. It's the King of Autumn. The Seven of Winter, or Seven of Swords, for me is the energy of joy stealing and joy stealers. If it represents, a person or, an incident with an actual person in your life, it is somebody who is trying to steal your joy in whatever form that comes. And sometimes it comes in physical theft, and they take something that belongs to you. Crowning the Union. The Emperor, with which represents for me, as it relates to angels, Archangel Michael, can also represent somebody's father, an authority figure. And Archangel Michael for me, as it relates to the universe. So higher power, that kind of father too. It can represent the need for organization in one's life around your foundations. Fours represent foundations. Structure and organization are important right now. Don't be afraid to take on a leadership role, as you have much wisdom to offer. The Emperor also represents for me the planet Mars, which rules both Aries, which the Five of Spring can also often represent for me, because against that aggressive and sometimes conflicting energy, and Scorpio. Mars rules both Aries and Scorpio. At the root, speaking of Scorpio, it's the 10 of summer. It's time to express your love and to appreciate your family, be it relatives or a chosen family of close friends. Congratulations may also be in order on a happy, fulfilling marriage or relationship, as well as raising happy and well-balanced children. This is the energy of joy and fulfillment. Right? Emotional fulfillment, emotional well-being. And it's sitting here next to the energy of joy stealing and of conflict, depending on, respectively, depending upon whether it's your masculine side or your feminine side, or the physical archetype of the masculine and the physical archetype of the feminine. This is what we want to protect. This is what we don't want to fear going after. We don't want to rob ourselves of an opportunity to have this. If we're conflicted about this, the likely and reasonable and from the heart choice is this, is this, right? Not to remain all tied up in knots. You go after it. At the heart of the matter, the Two of Winter. This is the choice you have to make. Do I or don't I? And again, I say you do. Procrastination and worrying about what others will think. So if what's holding you back is something like societal or family members, what they might think, your father, your boss, your some other authority, somebody you respect, they disagree with your choices from your heart, and that's why you're conflicted. I want to do what's in my heart to do, but what's so-and-so going to think? What's my family going to think? What's my friends going to think? Do I have the strength to do it? Do I have the, I'm afraid of what others feel about me. I'm afraid of them being disappointed, other people not being happy with my choice. If that's the case, whether it's because, we've been over these things recently, they've been coming up a lot. There's a huge age difference, or, race, culture, religion, some sort of ideology that is frowned upon, or socioeconomic. One's got some money in their pocket, one's broke, and, how's that going to work, and how's that going to look, and I can't do it. Whatever it is, if the procrastination and worry comes from what others will think, and it's blocking you from making your decision, if you're torn between that and what you want, between your own desires and someone else's, follow your inner guidance. It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter what man's law says. We deal with universal law, right? The laws of attraction and relativity, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We deal with the laws of karma. I've earned this. I've put positive things out into the universe. I put love out into the universe. I'm due love back, right? From someone who loves me too. So whatever, you let that be your guide. I will now go back to these, and in clarifying these. So our overall energy again was grace in reverse, grace or the star in reverse. Wow, this is beautiful. Atop the Two of Summer is Venus and Vulcan and balance, or temperance in the traditional tarot, which is all about, for me, restoration to wholeness, right? And that's how things get balanced out, because it was fragmented. Maybe it was in distress. There was a relationship in distress. It's being healed. It's being restored by a very karmic energy, by the universe, by destiny. It's meant to be, and so it's being brought back together in a healthy way. And what Venus and Vulcan represent, they were married by Zeus, made Venus marry Vulcan, and she originally thought that she was going to hate it because she was sort of out there, and this the extrovert, right? And Vulcan, and she's the goddess of abundance. So the goddess of money and the goddess of love. She can have whatever she wants, all kinds of money. He's more blue collar. He's the considered lame, and the god of the forge, Vulcan. So like blue collar, like think of like welding and all that, the forge, right? So how's that going to work? I was just talking about the differences between people. What are people going to think about that? It's here crossing the Two of Swords. They're in the middle. Right? How can they be a Two of Summer? They don't fit. They're completely the opposite. That's what made their relationship work. The fact that they were completely the opposite. They balanced each other out with their differences. Their differences were a positive in their life. Atop the Princess of Autumn is Triumph, which is the World in this deck, Major Arcana card number 21 in reverse. So that's sort of not moving away, not allowing yourself, like trying to fight the universe. Because here, this is actually mirroring the other world. Remember, the world is here. Major Arcana card number 21. The masculine's world is mirroring the feminine's world here. And it's sort of like the masculine is who is hesitant, and maybe that's why maybe because he's conflicted here, hesitant to allow the universe to move around, like trying to fight against the current, basically. That's the conflict. Trying to fight against the universe, against the tide, against the way that the flow of energy. That's not going to work. But that's what's being illustrated here. In the masculine subconscious, atop the Five of Spring, fertility. Now, fertility, when it's upright, is about wanting to go after something new, feeling very fertile. So this is, again, I think a conflict of the masculine wanting to pursue this, but being held back, restrained, maybe because of what others are going to think, and of how others are going to feel, how he feels he's going to impact other people rather than thinking and considering himself. He is hesitant, again, to use this very creative and fertile energy that he has of a brand new beginning. The Empress, or fertility in this deck, represents the signs of, it represents the planet Venus. So it's very much connected to that, but also the signs of Libra and Taurus, and perhaps even Gemini, which she rules, all three of those. Atop the King of Autumn is tradition in reverse. And this is actually very positive. Tradition is the high priest or the Hierophant in the traditional tarot. And in this deck, it is called tradition. And in reverse, it's sort of like breaking with tradition. Like, I don't care what others are going to think. I don't care what ideology says, what my religion says, what the way I was raised says, you know, let's say a same-sex relationship, right? I was raised that that's wrong. I can't pursue this person that is the same sex as me, the same gender as my own. And I'm going to break with tradition and do it anyway, because that's what's going to make me feel whole and my full worth and valuable. And that's where I'm going to find love that is, you know, lasting, and that will be successful, that will be invested wisely in me and mine and them by breaking with tradition. Atop this world is temptation, or the devil, which represents, again, the sign of Capricorn, or perhaps another earth sign, Virgo, Taurus. The devil or temptation is about being stuck. So again, I mentioned with the world, for me, it too is about being stuck, so much so that you need the universe to step in and pull you out of your situation. Now, it's typically the devil is not about really being stuck. It's about feeling stuck, like you can't move. And that's why you've got to be dragged out of this situation by the universe. And it may take some time, because the world can be, for me, sort of like the tower, with the exception of the world. Sometimes once it gets started in motion, it requires even our patience. Like, once we're being eased out of the situation, okay, now we actually won out, but it's taken some time. Whereas the tower comes and just knocks everything down, sort of like Lord Ganesha, right? Or Shiva the Destroyer. I'm going to knock everything down. I'm going to rebuild it. This is taking some time to be removed from this energy of feeling trapped and restricted, you know, by the planet Saturn. In the feminine subconscious, love. This is the lovers, essentially, in the traditional tarot. And this is about what we're worried. So it's either fear or self-esteem and feeling unworthy of this, and trapped and unable to go after it. Something blocking us, something preventing, something or someone actually trying to steal it from us, see that we don't have it, sending negative energy our way and all that kind of stuff. It can be all of these things. It can also be, again, self-esteem and lack of courage in going after it and pursuing it. Not completely unlike the masculine. At the root, crowning the union, atop the emperor is innocence, or the fool in reverse. So it makes sense, very much so, crossing temptation or the devil and feeling stuck, like you can't take the leap of faith, and crossing triumph, or the world in this deck, that you, again, you're stuck and you can't be moved forward. And you're in fact going to stick yourself, or have been sticking yourself in some way, and standing in your own way out of fear and ego. At the root, transformation or death here atop the 10 of summer. So this is all water all the time, and representing the sign of Scorpio in particular, but can be another water sign. And that is to say that there will be transformation. Things will change. We can continue to fight it, and that's just going to cause delay and make it take longer. And that's why the universe has to step in and ease us out of the situation. Or maybe maybe the tower will show up, and instead they'll say, okay, you don't want to be eased out? Boom, here all at once. But one way or another, something's going to change. It's never going to be the same again, the way that it was. or it's going to come to a complete end, cease to exist, death. Crossing these, I think that, you know, this is going to change. And sitting here next to fertility and love, I think it is sort of death to the restriction. And this is because these are both like new beginnings. And where there's death, there's rebirth. So this is like the end, and these are new beginnings. Now you start out brand new with this fertile energy. Now you start out brand new with this energy of love. In other tarots, love, or the lovers, can represent a decision that has to be made too. In this deck, it's pretty much like the perfect relationship. You know, an irreplaceable relationship that you do not want to lose, that you do not want to risk, that is not in any way worth sacrificing. You got to hold on to it. That's what it means in this deck. I may read it to you from the book. And it is crossing a decision, however, so it may be connected to that too, for the purposes of this reading. The need to make a decision, one way or another. At the heart of the matter, atop the Two of Winter and that decision, power in reverse. So there's a decision, perhaps, if we're lucky, to relinquish power to the universe, let go, let God, as they say, and to cease to try to fight against the current and just allow things to happen. Allow your life to be transformed for the better so that you can be fulfilled in, you know, in joy. Because love awaits. A very promising and fulfilling love. You were like pregnant with this new energy. Wait. This I took from this, like this, and this was here. But I have this upright. So this should be reversed, and this should be like this, and this should be like this. And lastly, from the Journey of Love Oracle, remember I was beginning with Coming Together and opening to Sensual Awakening, card number 64. Sensual Awakening, and the Pearl Threaded. Sensual Awakening. The bride offers herself. Remember, she lets go of this restriction of the energy of the devil and of this energy of fear and ego, and she pursues the love that she wants. She offers herself to her beloved. She allows herself to be transformed, perhaps because she's going through a sensual awakening. And acceptance, card number 55. And there's a very happy couple here in this picture too. And it's like accepting what we are and who we are and the differences between us, and thinking of them, using them in a positive way and toward our advantage, like Venus and Vulcan. Sensual Awakening. I'm going to cut. Sensual Awakening. The overall energy is sacred convergence. And this is not only coming together as a couple, but a collective. I don't know if you can see all the people here. This would be like all light beings joining together. And I can see like coming from the universe, the light coming down, white light. There's some people that are back here that are sort of elevated even further. So maybe like this is like the elect and the illumined. And then here's the water, like we're being baptized, cleansed, made anew, right? Reborn. Okay. From the Lover's Path Tarot. Illusion, or the moon upright. There are some unknowns, and the masculine is afraid maybe to pursue because of the unknown, and afraid, period, of the unknown. But of course, he is guided to move forward. And I will read you a little tidbit from the book about what this says. Moon upright. Being very careful to pick up the cards in the direction in which they're laying. For the feminine, it is contemplation, or the hermit in reverse. So she has discovered who she is and what she wants, and has gotten the enlightenment that she needs in order to pursue her dreams, maybe free herself from this restriction. From the animal tarot to the masculine, ego, so more devil. Ego is the devil, major arcana card number 15 in the traditional tarot. You may feel that you're trapped in your situation, but that's not true. Be careful not to overly focus upon material wealth, right? I said it might have something to do with money. You feel like you need the money to go forward with this world sitting here atop the Princess of Autumn. So that could be very much what it is. Or your difference is that there is some sort of socioeconomic difference where you don't feel like you have enough money, or the feminine is the breadwinner, or whatever the case is, something like that. It's still not true. That's still not a barrier. You're allowing it to be a barrier. You're conflicted. You're making it a self-imposed barrier. It is not a real barrier. Be careful not to overly focus upon the material wealth, and to break free of negative thinking, right? Free yourself from that. Feminine, the Six of Autumn, one of my most favorite cards in the entire tarot. Six of Autumn for me is really about unconditional love, pure unconditional love. Also represents the planet Venus and the goddess Venus for me. Again, ruler of both Taurus and Libra, as well as Gemini. So it's fairness, it's love, it's equity, it's sometimes material things and financial. It's all of the above, all wrapped up, everything that represents her, and giving of it freely and receiving it freely without agenda in either case. So being able to give and receive, the energy of love, and when it's healthy, it has to be able to, or in order for it to be healthy, it has to be able to pass and flow both ways. So that's what this card is about for me. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, or to receive a grant or scholarship, or maybe a healthy relationship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others through donations of time or money to reputable charities, and dare I say even love, right? If you're bestowed, you're blessed with unconditional love, then you share it with somebody else. And from the Journey of Love Tarot, our final oracle card, to the masculine, the Void, major arcana, well, card number 40 rather, and feminine, 20, Sweet Soul Rising. Together, these equal a 6 equals love, 20 or 11 for the feminine, Sweet Soul Rising, and 40 for the masculine, or 11, 11. And of course, 4 plus 2 equals 6 equals love. I will read both of those, but first let me read Illusion from this book, although we all know what the moon means, and I've already given you intuitive meaning. I just like to read these little stories because they're cute. So again, Illusion, the traditional card is the moon, and the lovers pictured here are Odette and Ivan. Princess Odette, heroine of the popular ballet Swan Lake, was cursed by a sorcerer to remain a swan forever, except at night. The only way her enchantment could be broken was by a vow of eternal love. However, if this vow were broken, even by chance, she would die. When Prince Ivan met her, he promised to love her and to return to claim her as his bride. But the sorcerer tricked Ivan, and he soon heard a heart-wrenching cry in the distance, the cry of a dying swan. Ivan ran to rescue Odette, but it was too late. So this is about not allowing time to run out, you know. life is a blessing, love is a blessing, and to go after it while you can. Don't allow yourself to be tied up by, self-imposed fake restrictions and false veils. Because, one day you may wake up and find that it's too late. Meaning of the card: enchanted by love for the better or the worse. Confused by illusions that may or may not be real, right? These self-imposed veils and things. Intense emotions and the need to know what's real. Only love is real. I just answered the question for you. Only love is real. Feminine, contemplation. Traditional card, the Hermit. Lovers, Abelard and Eloise. Keywords: withdrawal, introspection, retreat. Peter Abelard was famed as a brilliant theologian and a teacher during the medieval ages. Abelard quickly became known for his mastery of philosophical dialogue and independence of thought. He was a free thinker. He had an open mind, right? Even though he was like a priest practically. He even went against church policy and took positions sympathetic to pagan traditions. However, it was his love for Eloise that caused the biggest scandal. The story of their forbidden love is set out in Abelard's 1130 book. That's the year he wrote it, the year 1130. The history of my calamities. Meanings, when this card is reversed, can be distracted by the world, perhaps ignoring one's intuition, superficiality, and feeling disconnected from your heart, like it's been robbed of you, you're confused, going against yourself, feeling trapped, feeling stuck. That can be when it's reversed. But again, intuitively also coming through with this reading is having already visited oneself, just from the traditional hermit, having already visited oneself, going in and realizing what you need to do in order to free yourself. And lastly, our oracle cards, beginning with the void. At the ending of every cycle and the beginning of every cycle, there is a moment of transition. It may last for any amount of time, a moment of feeling or many years of deep inner work whilst feeling displaced. The transition may require patience to endure the absence of knowing, the lack of certainty about who you are and why you are here on this planet. A void may open up between one moment of meeting with the lower and the seemingly endless stretch of time, even if it's only days that seem as though they are eternal in duration, as you wait to reconnect again. Yet, if you can accept that entry into the cosmic void as preparation for your next cycle of manifestation, if you can accept that darkness is holding you with love, not with unfeelingness, then you can relax and let the preparation be what it must be. Then you can be well equipped for the next steps forward on your glorious divine adventure this lifetime, meeting the beloved, whether divine or human lover, and in a new and fresh moment. That sounds like, all of that sounds very much like these cards together, sitting here together. The new and fresh moment is excited. It's open and curious always. This oracle brings you guidance that there are parts of your own process unfolding that you simply cannot know about yet. That's why the moon is here. It will not always be this way, but for now, it's most helpful for you to only deal with what is immediately before you. All else will be shown when the time is right. There is growing to be done, And then the void will bring forth the next step on your path to meet you. You don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to search. Just be present. So be in the now, right? We don't wait. We don't waste time because we don't know what can happen. We don't know what life will bring. We don't want it to be too late. Be in the now. Be present and be patient. When you can do something, do it. So you have the ability to move, to take action, to heal a relationship, to grow in a relationship, to use this fertile, creative energy. So do that. Use it. When you can do something, do it. When you cannot, just be. Just accept that you cannot. Allow yourself instead to be transformed. Your time will come soon. If you're holding a question about a relationship, surrender it into the void and let it become what it must be according to spiritual wisdom and love. A coming together. And it's funny because this is card number 40. I started with an opening message of card number 66, which was called Coming Together. A coming together, a blending of one, where understanding spans the space between and separation disappears to form a new death and rebirth, brand new, a new beautiful start. And lastly, feminine, sweet soul rising. You may feel lost in your own thoughts and feelings. This is the sweetness of surrender into another world. It's time to dream, to wonder, not to be clear and sharp right at this precise moment. If you have a clear plan, let it become soft and feel your heart open to allowing whatever may be. We might believe that it's through tough action and dynamic assertiveness that we make our way through the world. Yet sometimes the sweetness of the soul, and instead we can flow gently with the currents of the cosmic ocean, unsure of where we're headed, but safe in the truth that all waters naturally return to the ocean, where they are all wanting to go eventually anyway. You can use your own efforts to swim to your destination against the current at times. How many times have I said the words against the current during this reading? That's what we were doing. You can do that, or you can float on the sweet love of your own soul as it enjoys the privilege of getting to know itself as one with the divine. This oracle brings you guidance now. Surrender and flow. This is not the time to assert your will and to try to make things happen, no matter how much you may want to or to believe that you should. There is something bigger happening, and everything is going to turn out perfectly according to a far larger plan. Remember, everything is going to be invested wisely and turn out great. That's what it says exactly here. Everything's going to turn out great. That's if we allow it to. If we don't put these self-imposed restrictions upon ourselves. If we don't try to fight the current and fight the energy of the world, the karmic energy that is coming through to help us, then everything will turn out great. If we get mixed up in it and try to control the energy, then maybe it won't. So everything's going to turn out perfectly according to a far larger plan that includes your well-being too, beloved. Sometimes we have to let go of our expectations about how that bigger plan will be achieved and just let it happen, trusting that it will actually take place, right? Trusting. So letting go of this energy of distrust and fear and paranoia about the love, and we don't have to force it to happen. It's going to happen on its own. We just have to let go of our own expectations about that bigger plan and how it'll be achieved and just let it happen, trusting that it will actually take place even without us trying and striving to make it so. Because the universe has got this on its own, right? The world doesn't need our help to make the world turn. It will continue to turn without our assistance or not. So we're going to just let it happen. This is one of those times when we're supposed to do that, when we're supposed to lift this veil and lift these self-imposed restrictions. With innocence, I share my heart, a smile expressing with a tear, sweet words and feelings that impart everything that I hold dear. The promise of a blossom high, the air is bathed in fragrant scent. To reach the sun, you have to fly. Desire wells with loves that's meant to wait for heaven's soft embrace, a fruit so firm and succulent. God's promise must remain so chaste, while passion's glow is slowly spent. Such patience, born with time's insight, my soul doth burn in embers light, and savors fresh and moist and ripe, the gift of love when it is right. So I would love to end on that note without saying anything else. But what does all this mean that we talk? Because it's been a lot. So I'm going to summarize by saying Valentine's Day has the makings to be so very phenomenal for each and every one of us watching this reading, with Venus and Vulcan. So this is a representation of the divine masculine and feminine of all time together, sitting here atop the two of summer, mirroring representation of the divine masculine and feminine of all time, Isis and Osiris, representing the lovers and love, as the Queen of Swords, and the goddess of love does. And she's here with her husband, very happy and embrace, sitting next to the card that actually represents, and the number that actually represents her husband, death. Major Arcana card number 13, death, represents Osiris and the sign of Scorpio, and actual death and rebirth, of which he is the god. So we have them together, upright, happy, in love. We have Cleopatra and Caesar, happy, in love, upright, fertility. So new energy, again with the death and rebirth, new energy, a fresh start, very fertile. We could go so far in creation and creating. The Six of Autumn, giving and receiving just freely. Oh. The King of Autumn, the Midas touch. Everything we touch turns to gold, including our relationships. So we can have that. Each and every one of us can have that. Or we can allow other outside forces to, guide our decisions and to cause us to be conflicted with ourselves and with our partners and with our hearts, and not. That's your choice on Valentine's Day. You can have a soul convergence and a coming together with your beloved, or not. It's up to you. I hope that you find this reading helpful in guiding you in deciding which it will be for you, and that you enjoy the reading in general and have an awesome Valentine's Day, whether you're single and you go out single and turn up, or, you do something coupled, or you just acknowledge each other in love, like the page of summer. Namaste, angels.
My feet won't touch the ground.